Let's talk tariffs, a tax on imported goods. They're not new, but lately they've become the main character in America's economic drama. Tariffs are supposed to protect local industries, but they also set off a chain reaction that touches nearly every part of our daily lives. Imagine ordering a pizza, only to pay extra because the pepperoni's from Italy. That's a tariff. It's not just pizza. Think about your morning coffee, your favorite chocolate, or even the cheese on your burger. If it's imported, you're probably paying more for it now. In 2025, President Trump's America has slapped tariffs on almost everything, from China to Canada. No matter where goods are coming from, chances are they're getting taxed at the border. The idea? Make foreign goods pricier so Americans buy local. Sounds patriotic, but the global economy is a tangled web. Products aren't just made in one place anymore. They're assembled from parts sourced all over the world. Your American car might have parts from Mexico, or even further afield. The badge on the hood doesn't tell the whole story. Your phone's circuit board from Taiwan, assembled with components from half a dozen countries, and your kid's toy from China, maybe even the packaging is imported. Every step in the supply chain is now more expensive. Tariffs on all those pieces mean higher prices for everyone. It's not just a few cents here and there. Over time it adds up, straining family budgets and changing what people can afford. Now, with a temporary pause on the harshest tariffs about to expire, businesses are bracing for impact. Retailers, manufacturers, and even small shop owners are scrambling to adjust. The US tariff rate has soared to levels not seen since the Great Depression. For many, it's a history lesson they never wanted to repeat. This isn't a minor tweak, it's a rewrite of global trade rules. The way countries do business with each other is being fundamentally changed. The fallout is everywhere. Boardrooms, supermarkets, and especially in company earnings calls, where tariffs is now the buzzword. Executives are being grilled on how they'll cope. Over 190 S&P 500 companies mentioned tariffs this year, the most in 5 years. It's a sign of just how deeply tariffs are shaking the business world. It's not background noise, it's a flashing warning light for the American economy, signaling that the dance of tariffs is far from over, and everyone's feeling the beat. If any company stands for cheap prices, it's Walmart. For decades, Walmart has been the go-to destination for families looking to stretch their dollars, promising unbeatable deals on everything from groceries to gadgets. But what happens when tariffs hit? Suddenly, the cost of importing goods rises, and the entire supply chain feels the squeeze. Tariffs, essentially taxes on imported products, ripple through every aisle and every shelf. Walmart's built on everyday low prices, but now even they admit prices are going up. The company is forced to make tough choices, raise prices, cut costs, or risk shrinking profits. It's not just electronics, bananas, car seats, you name it. Everyday essentials, the things families rely on, are all getting more expensive. Even a banana's price is caught in the crossfire, thanks to pricier global shipping. The cost to get goods from farms and factories overseas to your local store is climbing, and those costs get passed on to you. Car seats, essential for kids' safety, are suddenly more expensive, not exactly a win for families. For parents, these price hikes aren't just inconvenient, they're stressful, forcing tough decisions at the checkout. President Trump told Walmart to eat the tariffs, but even giants can't absorb costs forever. Eventually, those extra expenses trickle down to the consumer, no matter what politicians say. Walmart's CFO put it bluntly, tariffs are inflationary, and customers will pay the price. The company can only shield shoppers for so long before reality sets in. On February 20th, Walmart's shares dropped 6% as investors worried about profits and rising costs. Wall Street knows that when Walmart struggles, the whole retail sector feels the tremors. When Walmart can't guarantee low prices, it's a warning for the whole retail sector, and for millions of families trying to stretch their paychecks. If Walmart can't hold the line, who can? The promise to save money, live better, is slipping away. For many, that slogan is starting to feel out of reach. Tariffs are rewriting the rules for everyone, not just Walmart. Retailers big and small are being forced to rethink how they do business, and shoppers are left to pick up the tab. The impact is real and it's hitting the checkout aisle. Every trip to the store is a reminder that the world is changing. For many, the days of predictable low prices are over. Budgets are tighter, and every dollar counts more than ever. The retail landscape is changing, and not for the better. As tariffs continue to shape the economy, the future of everyday low prices is more uncertain than ever. Retailers aren't just waiting for the tariff storm to pass. They're scrambling to adapt. First, they pressure suppliers to absorb costs, but small companies can't survive that squeeze. Next, they hunt for new factories in countries not hit by tariffs: Vietnam, Mexico, India. But shifting supply chains is slow, expensive, and messy. Retailers push their own brands, like Walmart's Great Value, because they control costs better. Expect more store brands on shelves as retailers fight to keep prices down. Still, chaos reigns. CEOs describe the environment as unpredictable, with shipments stopped and production lines halted. This isn't a smooth adjustment, it's a scramble. Companies are making decade-defining decisions in months, all while guessing what policy will change next. The result? A retail world in constant crisis mode. The only certainty is uncertainty. What does all this mean for regular people? For Susan in Ohio, her grocery bill is now a source of stress. Prices on basics, snacks, shoes, frying pans are up. These aren't luxuries, they're essentials. Supporters of tariffs hoped for more American jobs, but now see their own wallets shrinking. The link between policy and price hikes is painfully clear at the checkout. Shoppers are switching to store brands, hunting for deals, or just buying less. Multiply that by millions and the economy cools fast. Tariffs hit lower and middle-income families hardest. A regressive tax. The Federal Reserve warns businesses are passing costs to consumers, fueling inflation. For many, the squeeze is just beginning. North of the border, Canada's seeing a retail boom. As US prices rise, Canadians are shopping at home instead of crossing into the States. US tariffs make American goods pricier, but Canadian retailers aren't hit by those same taxes. The result? Canadian stores are suddenly more competitive and local sales are up. Money that once flowed south now circulates in Canadian towns, supporting jobs and boosting the economy. Ironically, America's protectionist policy is fueling a Canada-first shopping spree. It's a classic case of unintended consequences. While US shoppers worry, Canadians are enjoying stable prices and a thriving retail scene. Tariffs aren't just raising prices, they're breaking small businesses. Giants like Walmart can adapt, but smaller retailers can't absorb the costs or shift supply chains. The result? A wave of bankruptcies and layoffs hollowing out local economies. Manufacturing and logistics are in chaos, with shipments delayed and production lines stalled. Uncertainty makes it impossible to plan or invest. The US government collected $92 billion in tariffs this year alone, a hidden tax on American families. That money isn't paid by foreign governments. It's paid by US companies and, ultimately, consumers. Tariffs were meant to protect American industry, but they're crushing the little guys. It's one of the biggest tax hikes on families in recent history. The tariff war is redrawing the global manufacturing map, forcing companies to rethink where and how their products are made. As trade tensions escalate, the old ways of doing business are being upended, and the ripple effects are being felt across continents. Apple, long reliant on China for its manufacturing muscle, is now shifting iPhone production to India to dodge US tariffs and diversify its supply chain. This move marks a significant change for the tech giant, which has spent decades perfecting its operations in China. In just a few months, 97% of iPhones exported from India went to the US, a dramatic pivot that highlights how quickly global trade routes can shift when economic pressures mount. Apple's building a parallel supply chain to keep prices stable for Americans, investing heavily in new facilities, training workers, and ensuring quality standards are met outside of China. Other companies are following suit. RH is moving furniture production to the US and Italy, seeking to reduce their exposure to tariffs and supply chain disruptions. Nvidia is cutting China from its forecasts, signaling a broader trend among tech firms to limit their dependence on the Chinese market amid growing uncertainty. The new global trade map includes Vietnam, Mexico, and Eastern Europe as companies seek safe harbors and more resilient supply chains, spreading their bets across multiple regions. But this migration is costly and slow. New factories must be built from the ground up, requiring massive investments and time before they become fully operational. new workers need to be hired and trained, and new logistics networks established to move goods efficiently. The learning curve is steep, and mistakes can be expensive. And it doesn't mean jobs are coming back to America. Production just moves to another low-wage country, where labor is cheap and regulations are less strict. The policy may hurt China, but it's not reviving US manufacturing. Many American factories remain shuttered, and the Made in China label is simply being replaced by another country's name. Instead, it's making the global system more fragmented and expensive, as companies juggle more suppliers, longer shipping routes, and higher costs at every step. The world's supply chains are now a high-stakes chess game, with every move carefully calculated and every misstep potentially costly. For consumers, that means more uncertainty and higher prices at the checkout, as companies pass on their increased costs. The tariff era is changing everything, except who really benefits. In the end, the winners and losers of this new world order are still being decided. The US and Canada now live in two retail realities. In America, families feel squeezed as tariffs drive up prices on everything from groceries to school supplies. The promise of low prices is gone, replaced by anxiety and belt-tightening. In Canada, shoppers are shielded from US tariffs, enjoying stable prices and a retail boom. Canadians who once shopped in the US now find better deals at home, fueling local growth. The US faces inflation and uncertainty, Canada, relative calm. It's a real-world experiment in trade policy, and the results are clear. Building economic walls can trap your own people, while neighbors find new ways to thrive. The contrast couldn't be starker. As the dust settles, American shoppers are left footing the bill for this grand tariff experiment. Prices are up, choices are down, and the future is uncertain, especially with more tariffs looming. Companies are moving production but not back to the US. Small businesses are being crushed. Canada for now is thriving, but a weak US economy could spell trouble for everyone. The big question: can any country wall itself off from the global economy and prosper? The evidence says no. In our interconnected world, every action has ripple effects. Until stability returns, shoppers on both sides of the border will be navigating a turbulent, unpredictable marketplace.